Them orange boxes.
Welcome back. Final segment of the February 22nd TD show. Had a big morning. I started off with just a couple topics, but had pretty good discussions going so far. Last thing, before we move into some of our normal segments where we talk about local sports and some outdoors and things, I'd like to just comment on some more current events. Thing that's kind of ate up the four letters to a point where I didn't really want to hear about it much more, but I would like to get your take on it, maybe give my opinion on it, and that's LeBron, who I've spelled LeBron on my paper. LeBron has said that he is going to be on the Mount Rushmore of professional basketball players. It's one of the top four. What do you think about that?
You know the most interesting thing I heard from this story?
What's that?
Is Bill Russell coming up to him at the All-Star game and saying, I'm glad you didn't put me on your Mount Rushmore because I only won 2 high school championships, 2 college championships, and then, is it 7 NBA championships? So
that being said, my personal Mount Rushmore.
Let me hear yours before I give you mine.
Okay. If people are going to get upset with it because I don't have Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell on it.
Okay.
I also have a tie for the 4th spot.
So you've got 5.
4.5. They're tied. I haven't decided who's going to be up there.
So you've got like a Siamese twin on your Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, because they're kind of the same player. I'll get to it.
Okay.
Here's my Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
Obviously, number 1, Michael Jordan. Career stats in the playoffs: 33.3 points a game, 6.4 rebounds per game, 5.7
just stop.
assists per
Everybody
game.
knows Michael Jordan's on Mount Rushmore.
All right, 6 titles.
Yeah, we know. We know.
Magic Johnson.
Okay.
19.5 points a game, 5 NBA titles, 3 regular season MVPs, 3 finals MVPs. Here's where I stray off the beaten path a little bit.
Okay.
Larry Bird.
Okay.
Career playoff stats, 24 points a game, 10 Larry Bird averaged 10 rebounds a game. Can you believe that?
Let me interrupt here.
Okay.
When we say the Mount Rushmore, are we saying the Mount Rushmore of basketball?
Yes.
Or the Mount Rushmore of the NBA?
NBA.
Okay. All right.
No, not all basketball. Not all basketball. Not including college sports, because I would change this.
Okay.
Not including coaching. Not including what you did as a GM. Only including your time playing in the NBA, which is how I took LeBron to mean this. Because he obviously didn't play any other thing. This is only NBA basketball.
But he got some years in the NBA that those other players would have had in college.
I know. That's why he's not on my Mount Rushmore right now.
Okay. All right.
My 4th and final spot is a tie.
Okay.
Tim Duncan and Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay.
Because them, along with Wilt Chamberlain, who I think could go in this tie area here, this is where I have trouble, dominated games in the NBA. I think to a degree that maybe Bill Russell didn't. Kevin Durant hasn't got there. LeBron James can score a lot of points and can do things, but does not dominate a game the way that Tim Duncan comes in and takes over a game. The way that in his prime, the way that Shaq in his prime took over a game. That's why I have them ahead of him at this point. And I know I left off Bill Russell, who a lot of people think is the best basketball player of all time, who's number 2 on a lot of lists behind Jordan.
Yeah, here's what I would...
But he played before my time, and I know it's probably a generational thing. Anyway, go ahead.
Here's what I would say. I'm going to go in reverse, maybe, I think. But my number 4, if I get the ability to do Siamese twins as you did, I would actually make mine Tim Duncan and Bill Russell, who I think are the same exact player.
Yeah, Tim Duncan play a very similar, from just what I've seen about Bill Russell. Never saw him
Obviously,
play.
we weren't there in the Garden watching him live. That being said, I from what we've seen, I think they're the same exact player.
Right.
And I think they did way more with their God-given ability than Shaq did.
Exactly.
Because not everybody is 7 foot, 450 pounds, or whatever he was.
Right. Or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's why I left him off my list.
Right. So that being said, I'd have Bill Russell, Tim Duncan 4. Obviously, I'm going to jump all around here. Michael Jordan, number 1 on anybody's list, I would imagine.
Yeah. His ability just to go to a level that we haven't seen since or
Right.
before. He on his normal days, he played like LeBron. He could go to a level that LeBron has not been able to attain thus far.
Here's the thing with Magic Johnson and Kareem and any of those players with the Lakers, they were just such talented teams with so many players that it kind of
so many titles, right?
Right. It kind of downgrades any individual player
that.
because what about if those players had been somewhere else? We have no idea what they would have done.
I can agree with that, and that's why I only had Magic.
Right.
And that's because when I was a kid, I had this DVD of Magic Johnson teaching you how to play ball, so I always liked him.
Right. And Bird had Kevin McHale, so you could say that. But I don't think that Boston was near as talented as the Lakers were. So I would probably have Bird as number 3, too. But I'm going to surprise you with my number 2, and I'm going to cheat a little bit.
Okay.
I know you said don't include college, but I'm going to include college with him and the pros, both.
Patrick Ewing.
As one. No. It does start with a P, though.
Penny Hardaway.
No.
Okay.
Pistol Pete Maravich.
Oh, my God. Yes.
The best shooter of all time, I would assume.
Agree. Yes.
So, I mean.
And I wish I'd even thought of that.
Yeah, that is I would have MJ 1, Pistol Pete, Larry Bird 2, 3, and then Bill Russell, Tim Duncan 4.
And I can't argue. I cannot argue with putting Pistol Pete on there. He's not going to be on any modern list that we look at.
Right.
But I cannot argue with that.
I mean, just pure shooter, averaged 44 points a game, I believe, in college, which is unbelievable.
And ball handling skills that would rival any
right.
NBA
player. And he wasn't playing at Liberty. I mean, he was playing at LSU.
Right.
So he wasn't playing cupcakes.
Exactly. I can't argue.
All this being said, I believe in 15 years that you probably have to make room for LeBron on there. And maybe Durant, depending on how he matures.
Keep it up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I believe he's maturing at the same rate LeBron did.
Yeah,
LeBron's a few years older.
Right. And Durant kind of, for the first couple of years, was okay being a backseat second player.
Right.
You know, he's decided, look, I can be the best player in the NBA.
I mean, we saw in the All-Star game, he wanted to go one-on-one with LeBron, and LeBron wasn't having it.
Right.
But obviously, LeBron's got something to lose, and Durant has it to gain.
Exactly.
All that being said, Durant obviously not as muscular as LeBron, which will hurt him in what he can do with
the Slim
himself.
Reaper.
The Slim Reaper, yes.
Or the Servant.
Still not as good as a nickname as Dougie McBaskets, who I still believe better than Pistol Pete Maravich. Here's what...
More athletic. More of an athlete than Pistol Pete Maravich.
If Pistol Pete's the best shooter of all time, before McDormand, I would have ranked J.J. Redick, number 2, best pure shooter.
How about, now, Jimmer Verdette? Pure shooter. I hated him as a person and as a player, but he could stroke.
I don't think he could shoot as well as Redick and McDormand. He did hit a lot of
I'm not going to say
amazing shots.
Yeah.
But
he also took a lot more shots than Redick shot.
Right.
Redick didn't take near the he had talent around him.
Right. Not near as talented as a lot of Duke teams have been since.
Right. But I mean, he had
before.
talent around him where he didn't have to take the amount of shots that Jimmer took, or we would have probably seen those numbers out of Redick.
That being said, I would have had Pistol Pete and J.J. Redick as 1-2 pure shooters. But I believe McDormand is the best college basketball player I've seen, best shooter I've seen. I've never seen anybody play as hard on offense as he does, continually moving without the ball, which is what you want every player to do.
Exactly.
But he's so smart, it's unbelievable. And he plays defense too, but smart defense. Every play, he's around the goal, and he's there to affect shots, but he doesn't commit fouls, and he doesn't block shots. But
he doesn't try to block shots.
Right. He doesn't even leave his feet a lot of the time.
He tries to alter their position in regards to the basket.
And we heard it.
This is something I'm going to talk about again when we get to the
We heard it spoke in high school when John Allen was the coach. You don't have to jump and block a shot. Just alter the shot and don't foul. And if you watch games with him, it's amazing how many people just assume that he's going to foul them.
Right.
They alter their shot, and they miss it. He gets the rebound because he's in position because he
Exactly.
didn't leave his feet and he boxed out.
Exactly.
Just incredibly smart, best college basketball player I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
today that's in the modern game we call that working the angles. You try to run a play to get you the angle to either get fouled or hit the shot. He is putting his defense up to run against that angle. He's the opposite of how Adolph Rupp coached the game, and that was he ran offenses to create an angle. He ran one play, all game long with about 35 options off of it based on angles to the basket. He puts his body in a way to keep you from having that best angle to the basket. Pretty smart guy. I've only seen parts of games. I know you've watched him play some whole games. I haven't watched him play a whole game. I have watched him watch 2 second halves, and then of course all his highlights that I've seen this year.
If you or anybody else hasn't watched him play this year, it's amazing what he can do with and without the basketball. You should watch it if you get to the chance. But leaving professional and collegiate sports and moving to the outdoors, this is where we generally talk about hunting and fishing. And I know you're going fishing today, so talk a little bit about where you'll be going, what you'll be doing.
What I told you to do last week, in that you wanted to work some slow baits, you wanted to imitate some bait fish, is still going to hold true, and that's what I'm going to do a little bit this week. But I also think that you could run a crankbait through some shallower water now that the water temperature is going to be up to about, I'd say the water temperature is going to be 52. I don't know. I haven't been out there yet, but I'd say the water is going to be in the low 50s just based on all this rain we've got over the past few weeks, or past few days. So that's what I'm going to be doing is running maybe a lipless crankbait and a jerkbait and, of course, a football jig, because I'm going to throw a jig any time of the year just because I like it. That's what I feel most comfortable doing. What you need to do if you're going to go fishing is do what feels best to you, what you have most confidence in, because that way you're going to have the most fun. You're not going to be second-guessing yourself, and that's what it's about. It's having a good time. So if you get out this weekend, I do think that lipless crankbaits, jerkbaits, are going to work pretty good, whether you use the soft jerkbait. Even if you just want to go to a plain old rubber worm, that's going to work. I don't think a lot of your live baits are going to work as well right now. Maybe if you had some minnows, you could probably fish those. I don't think
you could even dance a little jig while you're fishing if that made you feel better.
But I don't think you're going to be able to fish like night crawlers or anything and have any success. Just a little too cold for that kind of stuff. But rubber worms, Texas rigged, maybe football jigs with crawdad trailers on them to kind of imitate some bluegill. And I think you have a good time. That's what I'm going to try and do this afternoon. I'm just going to go to the county lake here, not going to venture real far outside of my home.
Speaking of dancing a jig, I've also helped I heard that it helps if while you're fishing you talk a little jive.
Really?
Do a little jive talking. It really gets the fish stirring.
Did you call me jive turkey? What you just called me?
But moving from the outdoors to the kitchen, as we usually do, it's time for 2 minutes with Paula Dan.
Gonna throw on a big slab of beef.
What do you have for us today, Dan?
Well, we've been talking about fishing, so I thought I'd do a little seafood for you today. Something I like to cook a lot on the grill is, I don't really have a name for it. It's crab, shrimp, and scallops all mixed together. What I'll do is just buy you a package of large scallops. The small ones get too small. Get you a package of large scallops frozen, thaw them out. A package of shrimp, shelled shrimp, and a package of crab meat. Obviously, let all that thaw out. What you're also going to need is 3 sticks of butter, 2 onions, and a package of mushrooms. You just take all of those ingredients. What you want to do is cut the onions up and put them on the bottom of a aluminum pan. You can put the onions on the bottom for this reason. The onions will cook first and let off the juices, and that'll keep you from burning your shrimp, crab, and scallops. You're also going to then, once you get your onions down, just cut your butter in half into like 6 pieces and just put it in there wherever you want, and then put your food, all your shrimp, scallops, crab, and mushrooms on top. What I like to do is take a little bit of vinegar-based barbecue sauce. Not a whole lot, just enough, maybe half a cup, and drizzle that over the top of it. Make sure you get a little bit on every piece, and that gives it just a little bit of kick, and then a little bit of seasoned salt on top of that. And then wrap the whole thing tight in aluminum foil. You want to keep all that steam and everything inside it. What you're going to do is get your grill hot, probably in the 350 range, 400. You want to let all all the flame burn off and just have your hot coals, keeping your grill around 300, 350. You put that in there directly on the bottom rack and leave it in there for an hour. Don't have to do anything to it. Just set it in there for an hour and let it cook. When you get it done, it'll be good. It'll be juicy. There'll be a lot of that butter will soak up into those scallops and those shrimp and swell them up, and you'll have just a little bit of tanginess from that barbecue sauce, and of course the onion. Well, mainly all the onion does is keep it from getting burned. You won't have to get a little onion flavor too much. Of course, the seasoned salt, put a little salt on top, and it'll be pretty good. So I just thought since I was going fishing, I'd do pretty much my only seafood recipe aside from tuna fish.
Speaking of fishing and seafood, we might have to add a segment next week, Tales from the City Lake.
Maybe.
Where, you get
the one that got away.
Yeah.
The big fish. Hey, if you get out this weekend and you catch a fish, be sure to send us a picture. We'll put it up on our website under the Outdoor World page. Nobody send us the pictures. We want to show.
Nope.
I don't care if
Zero.
you Photoshop yourself into a picture.
Speaking of photoshopped fishing pictures, I believe I do have one that I might have to put up on the webpage.
I think you should.
Y'all might have to check that out this week. I'll try to get that up today. I caught a big one. I don't even remember what kind of fish it was. It might have been
I don't know what it was either.
like a 50-foot catfish, I think. I can't remember what it was. It was a big one, though. But moving now from local outdoors to local sports, the boys played 3 games this past week. The girls played 4. Could you just give us the scores from those games?
Boys played Monroe County at home on Saturday, the 15th, after we left here. They lost that game 71-38. Played Barron County at home, and I thought they played them very well. They were actually in this game until the end. They ended up losing that game, though, too. 68-54, and after we lost that game and we were in it, I thought, now this is it. We're going to come out and we're going to beat Caverna. We're going to be on a roll going into Clinton County. But we had Caverna come to us, and we got up 15-1 on them. About 15, I'm sorry. In the first half, had a flat second half, ended up losing 72-58. We lost by 14, and we missed 16 free throws, which was a big deal. We were 11 for 27 from the free throw line during that game. The girls, on the other hand, had a little better week than the boys. They played 4 games. They played Monroe County at home and lost 64-36. Played Barron County at home and beat them by 3, 48-45. Thursday night, we played Caverna at home and won in a thriller on 3 free throws from Jordan Samuels as time expired to win the game 54-53. And we went to Thomas Nelson and lost in a very close game 42-43. I didn't actually get to attend Thomas Nelson game, but I did hear part of it. The girls are going to go and play Clinton County in Class A. That'll be on Monday, February 24th. They'll play first at 6 p.m., and then the boys will play at 7:30 p.m. against Clinton County. So we got lucky in that both of our teams are going to play on the same day. So make the trip to Clinton County and support them. The girls,
if I can, talking about the girls, we said last week if they win 2 out of 4, split them. That you got to feel real good going into this tournament. And not only did they win 2 out of 4, they only lost 1 game by 1.
And they won these games in battles.
Right.
This Caverna team was a highly touted Caverna team. Actually, during the game, or before the game, I actually got to talk to the assistant coach, Mr. Richards from WKU.
Mm-hmm.
She was there scouting point guard that Caverna has, as well as Mackenzie Coleman, I think, for the girls.
Yeah.
So got to talk to her for a little bit. So there were some good players on that team and on the floor that night. And like I said, won that game on 3 free throws with no time on the clock. Ice cold on the line, drilled them. Most exciting girls game I've been to a long time.
That's it. I mean, the girls got to feel good about themselves going into district. Got to feel like they can win that game.
They can beat anybody.
Right.
That's how they should feel right now, because that's how they've played.
And I think me and you both think we'll probably be seeing them play in region.
I hope so. I do believe that they can go in. If they keep up the intensity they've had, they can beat Russell County, and they can play in region. We've played Russell County twice this year. We lost to them the first time by 8, so we didn't get blown out. The second time we lost to them by 15. It was a little, but we were in a slump there where we lost like 10 out of 12 games. the second time we played Russell County. We're playing so much better now than we were at that time, and it's honestly a winnable game for Metcalfe County girls. The Lady Hornets have a good shot at making it to the regional tournament where we know anything can happen. We've been on a team that didn't win the district but made it to the regional finals.
Right. With that being said, talking about the boys now, we felt like they needed to win a game to feel good about themselves going in. That being said, they did have a 15-point lead against Caverna, gave it up. But even going into this game, you got to know that you're talented enough to play with them. It's just a matter, you got to know that this is it. This is the game that you have to win, that you have to close. You haven't been able to do it all year. You've been in about every game.
Been in
the first half. Been in every game.
Every game during the first half had an opportunity to win. Absolutely.
And just can't close.
Here's the thing. Without this sounding disrespectful or mean-spirited at all, it's not. I want this to be taken as a compliment more than something to hurt. I think that being able to win a game is going to come down to Spencer No and how he plays.
Right.
He can hit threes, and we know how valuable he can be when he's on.
Right.
What happens is when he starts missing threes, he gets down. I want him to know, and I want Colby White to know.
I mean, the entire team seems like they do that.
They get down
streaks.
when they miss.
Right.
It affects their defense. Don't let it affect your defense. Right. Now you've got Lincoln Bell out there, and you've got Logan Bell out there, and you've got Jalen Clements, who comes off the bench, and you've got Ty McMurtry, who don't score as much points but give you 150% every play. It's our guard play. When you miss shots, that's okay. We're going to get plenty of opportunities. You've got to keep your intensity up on defense, and we're going to win games. If we can keep our intensity up for 32 minutes, we can beat Clayton County. We have that much talent. We just can't get it together.
Right. And it's even more importantly when the offense isn't going well that you play well on defense so that a team doesn't get up 30 points on you.
Exactly. And that's what's happened is when our offense hits a little lull, our defense ducks its head.
When your offense struggles, you have to pick your defense up even more.
Like I said, this team is so talented to be this record. I mean, they're not a 2-win team. They're a legitimate 12, 15-win team. I don't know. It's been a rough stretch there for these boys. Hopefully they can come in and shock Clinton County at home. I will be there. If anybody wants to ride with me, give me a call. We can split some gas money.
Yes, and all that being said, I will reiterate one more time. If you're the boys, it's a game that you have to know that you have to close. You can't give up.
Because even game of the season, can't hold anything back.
If you give up for 1 minute, it's too late.
Yep.
You've got to play hard.
Especially a team like Clayton County.
Exactly.
If you're going to upset a team like this, this is David Clemens' first favorite thing to say when I was a football player in high school. 48 minutes of mean. And I know you don't play 48 minutes, but I don't care. Start early. We need 48 minutes of mean out of this basketball team. And you can beat any team that you've played this year if you give them 48 minutes of effort. Normally, I say that this is the most effort that I've ever seen a Metcalfe County team play the hardest, and they do in spurts. But to beat a team that's as talented as Clinton County or as Russell County will be if you beat Clinton County, you need to play as hard, everything you've got for the full amount of time. I know we've got injuries and some things haven't went well for us, but there's not been a game this year that I haven't thought, you know what, we've got a chance to win that game. No matter if we lost by 20 or if we lost by 1 or we lost by 37. At some point during that game, we had a shot. We were in it until the bottom fell out.
Going back to the fishing real fast, what do you think about my fish there that I caught?
That is some sort of catfish. It's a monster.
I'd say, 18 feet? Maybe 15 feet?
Yeah, that thing weighs a good 150, 200 pounds.
Yeah, I tell you what, getting that fish in, that was hard.
I bet it was. I had to hook that thing up to a jet ski.
But I'll put the picture up on the webpage there in Outdoor World so everybody can see it. My fishing buddy there, I haven't seen him since, nor had I seen him before.
He showed up, helped you.
He saw the struggle that I was in. But we got her in. I've got her down in the basement. Whenever we get that cleaned out, I'll
Okay.
bring her out. But I'll be sure to put it up on the webpage so everybody can see the fun that we're having here. That about wraps it up for today. We'll be back next week.
We'll be back next week. Give a wrap up on district.
Right. We'll talk.
Have some more MLB. Hopefully, talk about
Region.
Dale Jr. winning the Daytona 500.
Hopefully,
TJ's guarantee.
Yeah. Hopefully, talk about the boys and girls playing in region next week.
Yep, I hope so. That's where we want to be. So, to end this thing, I want to thank everyone for listening to us today. Good luck. Go Hornets.